And now, BX Forever presents another RPG deep dive.
Welcome to another episode of BX Forever, where we take a stack of sources, extract the knowledge, and deliver the insights.
And today we have one of the most unique documents we've ever looked at.
I'll say. It's this colossal single-volume catalog for a fantasy role-playing game. It's called Chrysogon's Coterie, and it details 288 non-player characters.
Yeah, and if you're thinking this is just a big spreadsheet of hit points and stats, you couldn't be more wrong. The author has built an entire, intensely interwoven society here.
Right. It's got complex families, unexpected friendships, and these secret, high-stakes organizations running in the background.
It's basically a profound sociological document, just disguised as a gaming supplement.
And that's really our mission today. We're going to go beyond the stats, look at the philosophy behind this whole creation, and, maybe more importantly, uncover the complex motives, the very strange coping mechanisms, and the secret alliances that bring these 288 people to life.
So where do we start? The mind of the creator seems like the right place.
Absolutely. Let's unpack this.
The intro text is fantastic. The author immediately tells you who they are. They call themselves a grognard purist.
A grognard purist.
Yeah.
Okay, so what does that actually mean? This isn't just about being old school, is it?
No, not at all. It's a deep philosophical critique of, modern game design. The author has a real problem with the constant churn of new, hyper-specific character classes.
So what's their beef with that? Why is creating new classes a bad thing?
Well, they see it as a symptom of a larger design failure.
Well,
Their whole perspective is that this churn is, and I'm quoting here, treating role-playing gamers like idiots that enjoy flavor but need it spoon-fed.
wow. Okay, so they're not pulling any punches. The definition should come from creativity, not a rule book.
Exactly. By the player's own actions and their improvisation, they give some really powerful examples.
Like what?
Well, a ranger, back in the day, was just a fighter. A fighter who happened to be interested in tracking and riding horses and using a longbow.
And an assassin.
An assassin wasn't a special class, and were just a particularly vile thief who specialized in murder for hire. The player made them an assassin, not the rules.
So the author is essentially saying the stat sheet is almost irrelevant. The real work of defining a character, giving them flavor, motive, that's all on the player and the game master.
Yes. The author implores you, the reader, to define these people through their enhanced personalities, preferences, hopes, flaws, quirks, and actions. The book is just a starting point.
And you can see they really followed their own advice because the catalog is just so rich.
Oh, absolutely. They say it right up front. This is not a tome of random, disconnected individuals. It's full of friendships, families, organizations, rivalries. Everyone feels like they're part of a real community.
And speaking of organizations, that leads us straight into the deep politics of this world. There's this secret conflict happening, a war in the shadows between two groups, the Octad and the Tetrad.
The Octad are the overseers. They're a covert intelligence group trying to figure out who's behind all these disappearances and deaths. They're led by a powerful magic user, Leofsige Alvine, and a master thief, Mallory Freemane.
And their recruitment methods tell you everything you need to know about the stakes.
They really do. Take Beowulf Wilmere. He's an experienced fighter.
So they just invite him for a quiet chat in a tavern.
Not even close. He was physically abducted in broad daylight. He was looking at produce in the marketplace. A gag goes in his mouth, a shroud over his body, and he's gone.
Just gone. And that was his job interview.
Pretty much. They tested him, and only after he passed did they reveal they'd been watching him for months.
That's intense. And what about the moral side of it?
Well, that's where it gets really interesting. Look at Avril Warwick. She's a high-level fighter, described as almost a saint. She's pure, kind, and never, ever lies.
Okay.
So when she takes her vow of secrecy to join the Octad, she has to swear to never speak of it. And the text notes, this was the closest thing to lying she has ever done.
Wow. So even joining the good guys requires this incredible moral compromise.
Precisely. And on the other side, you have the Tetrad. 4 individuals linked to just death and destruction.
Who are we talking about here?
Well, there's Lindley Crawford, a thief. And the thing about her is, all her former guild partners have died in the field, even on simple jobs. She's just toxic to be around.
And then there's Landon Bird, a fighter.
A deeply antisocial one. He's known to ignore cries for help in a fight. Sometimes he even strikes his own party members if he thinks they're not performing well enough.
So a total liability.
A magnet for death and permanent injury, yeah.
Okay. So that's the Shadow War. But not everyone is hiding. Let's contrast that secrecy with a group that's, trying to do good out in the open. The Coalition for Magical Cooperation.
Right, the CMC. This is a group of high-level spellcasters and clerics, all about civic improvement.
Hmm.
And its founding is a story in itself.
Yeah.
It centers on one of the co-founders, Willow Averill, a high-ranking cleric. Her early success went to her head. The text says it bred arrogance and self-aggrandizement. She became totally self-centered and pushed away all of her friends.
So this huge, important coalition isn't built on some grand political idea.
No, it's built on a repaired friendship. Her friend, Blossom Avery, a magic user, just refused to give up on her. She stuck with Willow through years of rage and self-pity until she finally broke down.
And Blossom was there to pick up the pieces.
She pulled her back from despair. It took years, but they rebuilt their friendship, became like family, and then they founded the CMC. The whole organization is built on that foundation of reformed character.
That really proves the author's point, doesn't it? The character is the drama.
It is.
Let's dive into some more of these. The Gallery of Eccentrics. I want to start with the thieves, because they are not just burglars.
Not at all. You have Slade Whittle, a halfling rogue. He's not breaking into houses. He's an investment broker.
An investment broker.
Running a massive Ponzi scheme. He sells fictitious opportunities, then disappears right when it all collapses, living on the chaos he creates.
A financial terrorist, basically. Then you have Giselman Grusk, a dwarf rogue. His name means one who is committed to protecting the hostages, which sounds noble.
It does, but his reasoning is anything but. He explains, and this is a direct quote, hostages are worth a lot of money. He goes to incredible lengths to keep them secure, not to keep them safe from harm, but to keep them from escaping or being stolen by a rival.
So he's protecting his investment.
Exactly. And then you have Baro Bernai, who doesn't care about money at all.
Yeah.
For him, it's about the terror he inspires. He only targets widows, and he avoids any house where a man might be present.
Revealing his own cowardice.
Deeply. And then, for something completely different, there's Peyton Horde. She sees thievery as high art. She practices obsessively, but she doesn't care about the loot. She only cares about the performance, the physical technique of the burglary.
Even if the actual job is a mess.
Even then, it's all about the execution for her.
The magic users are just as strange. Carling Tremaine, a powerful wizard, is secretly a cloud dragon.
A what?
A cloud dragon. He's just observing what he sees as humanity's imminent extinction, and his romantic relationship with another wizard. It's just an experiment, a cover.
That is wild. A dragon using romance as a research project. It changes the stakes on every single relationship.
And then there's Philocrates Marina, a wizard so paranoid about thieves he's turned his tower into a death trap.
With what? Magical arms.
Worse, magic mouths that scream at maximum volume and spike pits that have a gelatinous cube at the bottom.
A gelatinous cube.
Of course. And you can't forget Lane Fairburn, a wizard who dresses in his finest robes and walks around alone. Why? Specifically to provoke what he calls muscle-bound sword monkeys.
Right.
Fighters, so he has an excuse to roast them with a fireball.
He hates fighters that much.
He has a profound contempt for the entire class.
Well, speaking of fighters, they've got their own contradictions. There's Afton Araldi, the New Age fighter.
The New Age fighter.
Yeah. On the battlefield, he's terrifyingly brutal. But when he's not fighting, he's got this warm, sensitive side. He paints, he sings, he dreams of a quiet, chaste life in a cottage.
Total opposite of someone like Wassa Fairburn. She's a fighter who deals with anxiety by just pretending bad things never happened.
How does that even work?
It doesn't really. If there's an argument or someone dies, she just erases it. So everyone around her has to navigate her reality versus actual reality.
That sounds exhausting and heartbreaking. And what about Stigandra Felchoke, another fighter?
He's secretly drinking to cope with the unusual amount of horror he's seen. He's terrified his party will find out, that his depression and slipping performance will get him kicked out.
Just so much internal struggle. And it's the same with the clerics. Faith manifests in some very strange ways here.
Tell me about Godiva Lockshorn. She's the high priestess of the Temple of New Birth.
Right. Her doctrine requires her to walk among the people, just as her deity made her.
You mean?
The implication is nakedness, yes. It's meant to promote truth and vulnerability.
Okay. Contrast that with Halo Fada, an irritable, high-level cleric.
Very irritable. He's so sensitive about his name that if anyone mocks it, he will break their foot, and then he will instantly pray for his own forgiveness.
So instant violence, instant repentance.
In that exact order. And maybe the most disturbing is Hjalmar Ingeborg, a halfling cleric from the Temple of Now.
What's his deal?
He's an extremist. He believes society is crumbling, so he takes his mace to the streets to beat down the rebels and reprobates, who talk about things like social movements and rights.
So the author is showing how faith can be corrupted by, extreme political ideology.
It's a masterclass in complexity. But we have to close this by talking about the most compelling character here, the author himself, Chrysogon and Nemosin.
Chrysogon, which means gold-born, and he leaves this final personal confession at the end of the book.
He reveals his childhood was privileged, but perfectly ordinary, and it left him with this intolerable emptiness, a void.
And to fill that void,
He became a master thief, a liar, a manipulator. He incited chaos and destruction just to feel something.
so what was the book for?
He quit that life, bought a castle, and compiled this entire catalog from his indelible memory as a distraction, a way to escape myself. He hoped that by recording all this chaos, he could finally fill the void.
But it didn't work.
He realized the void was infinite. Recording chaos didn't help.
So if the catalog was just for him, what did he find in the end? What was the point?
He was most struck not by the characters who were like him, the ones who squandered their lives. He was struck by the numbers who chose to do good, despite the existence of the rest of us, with no expectation of glory or reward, but just doggedly doing good for good's sake.
The act of just documenting goodness, that's what made his own chaotic life tolerable.
Exactly.
So what's the takeaway here for you? I think the core lesson is about narrative depth. These characters are memorable because they're full of internal conflicts, secret alliances, and all these contradictory coping mechanisms.
That's right. The character is the contradiction. The most interesting people, real or fictional, are the ones whose inner lives just don't line up with their job titles or what you see on the surface.
And we'll leave you with a final provocative thought. If Chrysogon Nemesis found that recording the stories of others doing good made his own meaningless life more tolerable, consider this. Is the search for meaning less about what monumental thing you create for yourself, and maybe more about the connections you document or foster with those who just choose to live righteously? What stories are you documenting in your own life?